predators, I mean, they come in many shapes and forms, and I found an article about a woman. It says, "Mom busted accused for luring teens with Xbox for sex." So I'm not into online gaming and Nintendos and Xbox and all of that kind of thing, and that wasn't in our country, by the way, thank goodness. Not to say that that can't happen here, but people are, if you're of sick mind and you're a predator, everything's just out there for everybody. So, I mean, you have a woman who's a perpetrator, which isn't typical, who's using games to get sex from young boys. So, I mean, it's reverse, and that stuff happens as well. I'm gonna make you guys really paranoid after Michelle, we'll talk about social networking.
Social networking, obviously, is huge. How many here have Facebook sites? Wow, I figured every hand would be up. How many have MySpace sites? Anybody? MySpace? Okay. MySpace isn't as popular here. It's really Facebook, and MySpace is more popular in the States. But anybody with Twitter accounts? Like to tell everybody what you're doing when you're doing it and how you're breathing? I don't get that. That's just me. So I'm waiting for my daughters to ask for it. Yeah, huge. But again, really important to know what you're posting and think about that. Is this something I want my future employer looking back on? Because they will. They have ways of getting in. Make sure you have all the proper security settings. It's a no-brainer. But you would be surprised at the number of sites I can get in. Maybe not initially, but through friends. And that, I'm always creeping Facebook. That's how I follow all the kids in my community. And I find out what they're doing. And usually my really educated kids and savvy kids, they're all locked down. They're pretty good. But the ones that I want to be following, yeah, they're never locked down. So, you know, really pay attention to that. Think about the photos that you're posting. Think about what your friends are posting. You may not post stuff, but they're posting photos. And if it's of you, you know, make sure you're giving permission to that and tell them, you know what, I really don't want that. Post it. I don't want that out there, because it's out there for good and people can gather that information on you, and especially if you're tagged in something. Dating sites are huge. Anybody want to put their hand up if they're on a dating site? Anybody? Excellent. All right. Again, be wary, males and females. You never know who's out there and who's looking for you. So be wary of who you meet. Be wary of all the information that you put on there. It's a no-brainer. Meet in a common place first time. That's where a lot of our predators are. They're on these sites looking for people. So be aware. Let people know if you're on these sites and if you've met somebody and you're going to go have a face-to-face meeting. Let somebody know so they know where you are, what time you think you'll be back. You know, it sucks. It's not, you know, it's like you're living back with mom and dad, but it's just to keep you safe, and it's to keep everybody aware. Rate My Rack, anybody know that one? Yeah. One? I go on these sites, my husband's like, what are you doing? But I'm always checking to see if any of the kids I know are on there. That's my defense. But unfortunately, we have a lot of young people putting their, Rate My Rack is you put pictures of your body parts out there. And then you have people rate them, right? And we have a lot of young girls with self-esteem issues, and unfortunately they put their body parts out there and then they don't get that 10 rating that they really hoped for. And then we get into incidences of suicide or anorexia. You know, really it affects their mental well-being. So I'm not obviously a fan of these sites for many different reasons, even outside the uniform. So this is out there. Please, thinking of posting on it now that I've informed you about it and you never knew about it, please don't do that. Your employers are not going to be happy unless you're working at the Fabulous Forum. That would probably be the only place that they'd be happy that you're putting it out there on Rate My Rack. We have little virtual worlds. Habbo is a virtual world for young people, and you may have heard of Webkins. I know you're all past Webkins, but you may have nieces and nephews and things. Well, there's actual sites for adults that you can create a virtual world for yourself. So you're not quite happy about the life you're living right now, let's create a virtual world. We actually had a situation in Aurelia where these people were really believing this virtual world that they were in. This guy, he created a world, he wasn't happy with his wife, so he had a girlfriend, he had the perfect life in this virtual world. She hacks into his account and she murders his girlfriend on the virtual world. He called police and reported a murder because he truly believed he was living this. This is how caught up people get in technology and in these virtual worlds and what's out there, right? We lose our sense of reality a little bit. So really pull yourself back if you find that you're really entrenched 100% in online, whether it's gaming or these dating sites and that. Pull yourself back and give yourself a dose of reality rather than calling us to report these horrible acts.
Remember on Facebook as well, the first place we go when we're investigating something is Facebook. That's the first place we go to get information on people. And employers will be doing the same thing. So think about what you have on there, especially police foundations people, because your employers will be looking at that stuff.
Your friends list, you're taking on all of their friends too, because there's always ways that they're going to end up seeing that picture of you that you've been tagged in. So it's just really important. Think about what you post, but also your friends. Think about what you're posting about your friends. It may be funny at that time, or a really great joke, but down the road, not so funny. So what does a perpetrator look like? Nikki talked about that, where we think it's that greasy guy with the Coke bottle glasses and has no life. Yeah, I see a lot of those. I register them daily. But there are also the businessmen out there, the clean-cut guys that you just never know. They're pretty smooth, and they've certainly made their mark on people. We have grandfathers. We have fathers. I only have one female on our registry right now within Oxford County, but they are out there. Right? There are many that are obsessed with little boys and females, not always just males. So it's important to know that they're any shape, any size, any age. Our statistics here, you see 18 to 24, 25 to 34. I have a lot that are older. Many are still married. The wives stick by them, which is disturbing to me as a mother and a police officer. But again, really, really be aware. Some of them have zero social skills, but as I said, some are educated and they're businessmen and they really know how to play people. So it's just something to really be aware of, and stereotypes really just almost have to be thrown out anymore. It just speaks to the stereotypes. That's what everybody thinks, but they're not all like that.
So we have to skip through some of the stuff because we want to allow for questions, and most of the stuff we've covered. The online resources, these are probably the top ones for Canada, and if you want, I don't have them copied, but I did print off some of the material from these sites. Basically, all of these resources touch on, they actually give educators, law enforcement, tools and resources. So if you're going to be teachers or in law enforcement, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So they actually have packages that you can take to educate people. The cyber tips, it's like Crime Stoppers. I'm sure everyone's heard of Crime Stoppers. But cyber tips, basically you can telephone or do online tips for any child sexual offense that you have heard of or you think is happening. You may hear from a buddy that he's with a 15-year-old, you know it's inappropriate, you don't want to get involved, but there's a way to actually get that information to police organizations without being a rat. So if you hear of things, even if you don't have factual information or it's third party, you have a duty to report. You need to get that information anonymously through police agencies. So cybertips.ca. All of the other resources, there's resources on gaming, BlackBerry. So if you have parents that aren't that savvy and want step-by-step how to use websites or create websites or any sort of technological information, these sites are phenomenal. And a lot of them actually link. If you went on the O.P.P website or the RCMP website, there will be links to these sites as well. And I will probably be putting most of them on the Fanshawe Campus Security site and link too. So.